It's the 24th. My goodness. Where is all the time going? We're back again. Damn you, Xcel. It's supposed to be my day off. Oh well. Another day, another scumbag nuclear story. This one's crazy. So we had to come and respond to it. Who are we? I'm Dana Durnford. It just always takes me a second to get up to speed. There's an awful lot going on. Alrighty. You can call in at 709-589-4406. 709-589-4406. If you can't remember, it was on the screen. Okay, so this is an update, basically. The Monticello nuclear power plant is going to shut down this Friday. Of course, it should have shut down 3 months ago when it put in an application to the NRC to get a 20-year extension. Which probably never had nothing to do with why they didn't report it to the public, I'm sure. 4 months has gone by since that they claim that's how long it's been going on. They don't know. It snuck past them for a day. Could have snuck past them for a year, right? And so Valerie Myers of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is telling people that it's like walking in sunshine, which of course got nothing to do with dirty bombs or man-made anthropogenic radiation, radioactive fallout. They didn't know where the leak was. They got 100 sirens around these plants within 10 miles, or 90 or something, whatever it is. And they didn't know what was leaking, where it was leaking from, but they claim they know, but they won't tell us where it's leaking from. They say it's harmless and innocuous and benign. It's like tritium, but yet tritium is used in nuclear weapons. So it's not exactly harmless or benign or innocuous. So she's telling them there's more radiation in the exit sign. Now, we'll get to her. My advice to that community is don't let her back in your community. Don't let her perform any official functions. And put in strong complaints to the NRC for her claiming it's like walking in sunshine. And wherever she got a degree, you should go to that institution. Thousands of people in the community should send them letters and ask them to remove her degree, because radiation will never be like a banana or sunshine or potato chips or anything else. Now, we've seen many of these Valeries, but she got a twist to it. When WIP melted down, the nuclear waste pilot project, it claimed, is now a repository, had a major release in 2014. I actually covered it at KRQE in Albuquerque. Actually ran some of my videos and mocked me, despite the fact what I was talking about was 100% true. Okay, so this is Miss Williams is going to be talking about, she's going to do the same thing as Valerie, where she's just going to blatantly lie. She's going to blatantly lie, and just bear with me. Valerie, okay, let's play that clip. Listen to this. She's going to claim it's like a licking an iPhone charger or something.
These levels of radiation are just above natural background at the WIP site. And so there is no expectation that those measurements for you or your children or anyone else will show exposure on a lung count. They're down in the levels of licking your iPhone charger. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to equate radiation exposure to something that you can understand.
Dumb hicks. So she's claiming you're too stupid to be explained to. They're doing the same thing to you for on the Mississippi. It ain't gonna lick, the iPhone ain't gonna lick itself, so like for her to say it's like licking an iPhone charger, which has nothing, it's nothing to do. If she, some point in the future, she'll probably get arrested for drowning a baby, and her excuse would be the baby didn't struggle enough, so she just drowned it, right? Because that makes more sense than what she said. And to have that kind of an IQ, that's something she would do. I know that might sound bizarre to you, but hang around. Valerie got the same personality. Before we get to that, Britain is now confirmed to be sending or shipped depleted uranium munitions to Ukraine. Each of these are dirty bombs, right? These have gone through a chain reaction, the material they're using in it. We're going to cover that on Sunday. My goodness, Sunday's going to be insane how much we got to get through. And it's only Friday. Man, disappointing. That's the nuclear industry for you. Federal officials work to reassure residents near the site where they don't even know where the leak was coming from for months of this leak. And this leak is almost 4,000 gallons a day. That's not a leak, Dana. That's flowing. I know. Very. Valerie, my goodness, she says the average person gets 300 milligrams in a year from sunshine, the ground, and everything. But that's got nothing to do with anthropogenic man-made radiation. It's got absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with it. Right? Sunshine's good for you. I don't know if you're aware of that, but Valerie. She says the 450,000 gallons, the million liters, the 1.5 million liters, whatever it is, 1.6 million liters, the radiation in that exosign is worse. But the big problem is we don't know where to, and there's only one spot where that much water can be coming from and be radioactive, and that's the reactor core. The lines to the reactor core. So that's radioactive water. So they were adding water, is why they figured out there was a leak. Not because they found a leak, because they didn't. They didn't know where it was coming from. But they were definitely adding water. And so a month after the leak, they applied, Xcel did, for a 20-year extension. So they couldn't tell you now. They're like, oh shit, we can't tell them. We just applied for that 20-year extension. That'll screw everything up. They'll start looking at other stuff, and you'll find all kinds of Wigner-affected, the neutron bombardment, the X-rays, the gamma shines, the beta rays that have destroyed the integrity of the infrastructure. Right? If you start looking, it'll manifest everywhere. You'll find it everywhere because the plant's pretty old, right? It's supposed to be closing down soon. So this is radioactive water. So think of 10,000 45-gallon barrels. Where are you going to store that on site, for instance? So how can you claim that that's going to stay on site? That's a lot. That's a lot, right? 1.6 million liters. That's a lot. How are you going to naturally, where's that going to show up on the site? There's going to be a pond show up with this stuff? Where's it coming from? Why don't you give the media a picture? Why don't you talk about where it's actually from? Why don't you just explain it away and move on? Months after a leak, 4 months after a leak, federal officials are on the ground, finally, 4 months later, to reassure the families. That's what Valerie's job is, right? The officials. And she's going to tell them it's like walking in sunshine. Not going to, that's what she's done. She has no right to be there. She's completely dishonest. And that's the best you could hope for from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. We'll get to that. It's disappointing that she would say it's like a exit sign. And why ain't they speaking out themselves? And why did the president announce the closing the plant rather than just some regulatory agency? Months after a leak, we'll get to it, after a leak at the nuclear facility, the federal officials are underground trying to figure out what the hell just happened for 4 months. The public only found out last week. The Monticello nuclear plant leaked water. That's not really a leak. That's a bit worse than a leak, right? It's 4,000 gallons a day. It's 12,000 liters a day. You know, line up 12,000 1-liter jugs of milk and tell me, and dump it all on the floor and tell me that's a leak on your floor. Leaked water contaminated with radioactive chemicals. So they refuse to call it tritium, which is tritium-3H, by the way. It's not just tritium. Tritium's the natural stuff. Tritium-3H is man-made. There's a difference. They're going to tell you, they're going to conflate it and claim they're the same, but it's not. Is anybody paying attention on this planet anymore? Now, crews are trying to stop it from getting into the Mississippi. What are you talking about? They're going to build an ice wall? Come on, man. Stop lying. Stop being scumbags. And where does the Mississippi go, by the way? All the way down to the Atlantic. How many communities does that pass through again? Oh, my goodness. You guys are actual demons. On Wednesday, Monticello residents had a chance to make their voices heard. They don't know anything about nuclear. As far as they're concerned, they've been listening to the propaganda for so long, they've been living there. It's like they got Stockholm Syndrome on top of that. They're dependent upon the nuclear plant for all the taxes in the community. They're like, oh my God, we're going to lose our gravy trade. Well, the hell with it. Don't care if everybody gets sick next year or 10 years down the road. Can't connect it to the nuclear accident today. Still going to get me pension. You guys are in for a shocking awakening. Because you're going to have to burn your pensions on your health care for the rest of your life. Monticello residents, if you're lucky enough not to have children destroy them, had a chance to make their voices heard as the nuclear plant near the home have their voices heard. Instead of being explain what's going on and showing pictures and videos and get a chance to be heard. What are you talking about? They don't even know what's going on. You hid it away for 4 months. Xcel Energy had applied for a 20-year renewal to operate the plant that will be greenlighted until 2050, 3 months ago. So they couldn't tell you. This is normal. They hate your guts. Get sick and die and shut up while you're at it. The public hearing where only one person spoke out and he said, come on, I got neighbors that work there. Come on, let's be reasonable. Let's not panic. Yeah, getting sick and dying later is not worth panicking, is it? The health of your community is not worth panicking. That's what they're saying, right? Residents speak out. There was only one, and he was a pro-nuclear. Public hearing in the matter was scheduled in advance of last week's disclosure, but not about actual... It was a public hearing, but it had nothing to do... It wasn't about the 400,000 gallons. That just happened to happen, too. Right, so it's a little bit deceptive to frame it that way. Not a little bit, it's a whole lot, actually. It's not a leak. That's, that's 16, 17, that's 18, 1.8 million liters total that they emit to. And you don't have that much tritiated water on the site. So it's not tritiated water. It is radioactive water, highly radioactive water. Curium, plutonium, americium, ruthenium, strontium, technetium-99. There's going to be endless amounts of fission products. It's impossible to keep it out of the... It's meant to run down to the rivers built on a grade. Every time it rains and snows, they're going to wash whatever's there through that into the water tables in all the communities downriver. When we heard of the occurrence, they contacted me knowing I'm the expert of the area. Senior health physicist with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Valerie Myers. Wow, this is quite a creature they shipped out this time. Said there's 3 times as much tritium in the hallway exosign than in the water on the plant. That's an incredible insult. That's a vicious, vicious lie. That's a wicked person to say something like that. These are like, they don't even know where the friggin', they haven't explained where it's from or what it looks like or showed you pictures or. Creepy Myers says there's 3 times as much tritium, and like don't even give it the dignity and call it tritium 3H, which is what it actually is. There is natural tritium in the environment. It's not very much of it. There's around 1,100 kilograms pre-nuclear industry. With the dumping that they've been doing just from the fuel fabrication facilities in Sellafield, United Kingdom, Donneray in United Kingdom, and La Hague in France. By the 70s, they had put in probably 5 times the natural stuff, but this was man-made. This is the anthropogenic man-made tritium 3H we're talking about. And Myers claiming that the average person gets 300 milligrams. Well, 300 milligrams of man-made isotopes will kill you pretty quick. You're talking about a physical dose, right? You're talking about injecting it like they done to the 800 pregnant women in the 60s and told them it was vitamin shots. They took the fetuses that died and brought them to Los Alamos and the other national laboratories, Brookhaven and places like that, and incinerated and sniffed the ashes of the fetuses that died prematurely from the injections of the plutonium. Because they love you so much. So Myers saying is like sunshine is just absolute contempt for everybody in the community. That's equivalent to everybody gets sick, drop dead, and die, scumbag. That's like spitting, walking up and spitting at every person's face in the community. That's what that is. It's the ultimate insult when they do that. That's the ultimate insult. And that's the non-regulatory commission, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, as known by anybody in the industry as the non-regulatory commission, as the nuclear groupies, and that's how they ended up there. They were scumbags from the day they were conceived by their scumbag parents. The inbreeds of the nuclear industry. So far, it seems residents agree, with only one resident speaking at the meeting and advising his neighbors to keep calm. They actually played a video on one of the sites. I got some pictures. I think we need cool heads to look at the issue. Really? 4 months later, you don't even know where it's to or what it is? Why are they being so deceptive? Well, we need that 20-year extension, Dana. The community's going to die. Well, like everybody downriver from you. And all your friends and loved ones and families. You can spend the money on health care for the rest of your life trying to survive what they got done to you. The cause for the leak has not been determined. What are you talking about? How could you not determine that and fix it? It broke, sprung a leak, frost lifted it up and broke it, something. It was just a leak. Where's the pictures? Where's the videos? Where's the language? Where's the nouns and the pronouns? Where are they to? What physically happened? Where did it leak from? What was it? Why won't you tell anybody? Why doesn't the media talk about what the leak is? There's nowhere on the site where you can have tritium leaking in these quantities. There's no tritiated water on the site. They dump it directly into the ocean through pipes offshore. This is radioactive contact with the fuel. This is from the reactor core. This is what they're talking about. Dirty, dirty, dirty. And then telling you it's like walking in the sunshine. I know a few girls will go down and kick the shit out of her. $5. Let me call after. The cause for the leak has not been tested. Joke, by the way. In the old days, that would have been true, now, mind you. The cause for the leak has not been determined. Aw, how cute. Get sick and die, scumbags. Xcel Energy says it's planned to extract the broken pipe. Broken pipe? Where though? What broken pipe? From where? What is it connected to? Where's the radioactive water coming from, scumbags? Next month, in the hopes of learning more. Now that was this morning story we're reading right now. A few hours later, they switched gears and said they're going to shut it down on Friday, which is the next story coming up. The average person gets 300 milligrams a year. I'm just stunned somebody actually said that. It's been a while, right? Probably been a decade since anybody used that one. We normally get them right away and curb stomp them. Disgusting Valerie Myers. Despicable Valerie. From the Nuclear Regulatory Commission sent out a little demon to lull you into complacency, make sure you don't ask questions, that you don't come up with solutions, that you don't move away. You should be moving away from there. If you got kids, you should get the frig out of Dodge right now. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Valerie Myers is part of the team monitoring the cleanup. You can't clean it up, it's in the water tables. Los Alamos National Laboratory spent $90 million trying to clean up their aquifer underneath it. They built it on an aquifer, so if it melts down, they got somewhere to stop, right? That's why they do it that way. They all of them. Brookhaven's on the biggest aquifers in that part of New Jersey. The list goes on and on for these facilities. There's 3 times as much tritium in the hallway exit sign. I would have shoved her head right through one if she had said it to me. Right through it. And when you get into court and the jury's sitting there and asking, why did you shove her head through the thing to her? I said, well, because she was murdering all these people with propaganda. And these little demons, so-called, they call themselves journalists to their family and friends. You wouldn't, right? They act very proud. Oh, I'm a journalist. I'm on TV. But they're scumbags just like Valerie. No, they never questioned Valerie. They sold that story like good little goblins, good little regurgitating vomit machines. Radioactive leak, Monticello. Another town falls to the wayward. Well, we fought for you. We've done the best we could on our side. We come up and try to warn you. We didn't turn our backs on you. Oh, sirree. We are here to... And he's like, come on, don't panic. We all got friends works there. Everybody's dependent on it. Don't screw this up. We're going to get a 20-year extension. Good pensions. You're going to need them for all the cancer and heart problems and liver and lung and respiratory and pituitary and thyroid and adrenaline and Alzheimer's and dementia, autism, diabetes and Down syndrome. Schizophrenia you're going to get from this. There's 1,800 diseases. He was the only guy who spoke up, and he was pro-nuclear. Nobody knew what was going on. They're trying to figure out what's going on. You're being murdered. It takes a decade or so to show up for a lot of it, but not all of it. Most of those guys getting dementia real soon from that stuff. And so all that snow is going to wash out into the water tables, right? Because you have them warm days. You're going to move all that into the Mississippi River. And just 2 kilometers downstream of it is the school where their children are going to be to. Talk about stupid, eh? Talk about Stockholm Syndrome. No, we're just going to stay there because, we're going to get a pension. Xcel Energy. Xcel hid it away for 3 months because he put an application in for a 20-year extension because of the new free giveaway they got for nuclear power plants with the Biden administration, right? They call it low carbon. These are vicious animals, right? Not these people. These are the victims, obviously, right? They're trying to figure out what's going on because they don't know much about nuclear. Only Superman and Spider-Man and the Hulk and whatever Homer Simpson might have taught them. So in other words, nothing. So where did 1.8 million liters go to? Huh. Can only go a couple places because everything's downhill to the Mississippi River. That's the plan, right? That's how they keep the background radiation down around this place. It always gets washed back into the rivers. Or it's surrounded by farms. They're surrounded by farms too, by the way. So then the media put this creature up on the pedestal. And she's telling everybody's like sunshine. These are dirty bombs. That's what these things are. And she's saying that what's in that exolite is more than the 450,000 gallons, 1.8 million liters of anthropogenic man-made radiation from the reactor core. Because what else could it be? There is no tritiated water on sites. These are not CANDU reactors. These are boiling water reactors. What a hateful person she is. What a horrible job. What a horrible person to take a job like that. To go out and tell people it's like walking in sunshine. And what a horrible person to get up and tell people don't complain, our pensions and checks depend on it. You're talking about you only got to get sick once from this and you're sick for the rest of your life. Your children are 100 times more vulnerable. So after an accident, you can prepare for 1,800 diseases. So after Japan, in the first year, it was 865,000 extra cancers. But cancer is just one of 1,800 diseases. You're not Hulks. You're not Spider-Mans. You're not invisible. You're not invincible. You're not radiation-proof. You're not special. The radiation gets you is going to destroy your body. Your body's going to attack it for the rest of your life with white blood cells. So if you've got thousands of these atoms pulsing energy in your body has to repair everything that's damaged each time. A nuclear plant, now they don't even put the name of it there. A nuclear plant that leaks 400,000 gallons, 1,800 liters of radioactive water, 450,000, right? Actually, will be shut down after the second incident because there's another incident today. They say the owners of the Minnesota nuclear power plant said it will temporarily power down the facility. What do you mean temporarily? What are you talking about? You don't even know where it's to or what it is. You got to figure it out. Then you got to repair it. So it's a pressure. It has to be a pressured part of the system. That's the only reason you're going to shut it down. Is because you're talking about huge pressure. Which is a problem with these decrepit old plants that are suffering from gamma shines, X-rays, neutron bursts, and beta rays, and for 40 or 50 or 60 years, it denigrates all the steel, all the metal, all the cement, all the infrastructure. 90% of the site is pulsing neutrons. What do you mean reoccurring leak? This is it didn't fix itself. So why not identify it? Why not show a picture of it? Why not describe it? Why not have a conversation about it? Why not just blow it off as this pipe here goes in right there? You're not going to shut it down only for a high pressure system. So it's coming from the reactor core. Right? That's the only spot it can be coming from. There's no other reason to shut down the plant unless it's a high pressure system. So it's the exchange from the reactor core to cool it down before it goes back in, right? So you had to keep filling it up. You had to add, because these are pressurized, these are airtight. You're not supposed to lose any. Some in the Taurus, right? But it burps. But these are scary events too, so it's not that often. Of radioactive water, I'm glad you done that. Discovered. Hey, what's this? Got to add more water to the reactor core again today? How much, George? 12,000 liters. Discovered this week. Could be going on for a year or two. Who knows for sure. To repair a recurring leak. Because they got to fill it up every day. Because it's high pressure at hot temperatures. Dirty bastards. Dirty mass murdering scum, eh? To repair, they had their application into the NRC, the non-regulatory agency. They're going to pass it anyway. You might as well come out and tell you, we got a leak there, we got to do some repairs on it. It's an old plant and get back to business. No, you got to hide it, pretend it's not happening, poison everybody. Maturity of a 6-year-old. To repair a recurring leak, and we see this all the time with the radioactive water discovered the week occurring, state regulators were monitoring the effect by claiming it's like walking in sunshine, folks. Xcel Energy said in a news release Tuesday there's no risk to the public or the environment, but of course there is. You got 1.8 million liters released into the environment. That's an event. This is why you got 90 sirens around the site. You didn't even know what it was for the first couple of months. It should have been shut down immediately. Well, no, Dana, we were going to put an application in. We worked really hard on it, Dana, and we want all this bonus performance money. Obama or Biden is giving it away for free. Yeah, everybody's going to get radioactive. It's like watching color television for an extra year, Dana. So shut up. Because they've done that after 3 Mile Island. They said, 2 million people got a radioactive dose, but it's only like watching color television. It's got nothing to do with this. Mind the color televisions back then weren't very nice. But it's got nothing to do with anthropogenic man-made radiation and getting in your body and pulsing energy at the speed of light every second. Exciting all your white blood cells constantly, displacing your red blood cells. We got a poll tonight. Did you know that? Probably didn't. Is the radioactive water flowing from Xcel nuclear generating plant, Monticello, Minnesota, like sunshine? And 33% of the people accidentally said yes. Because surely nobody's out there that stupid. Nobody's actually that stupid, is it? Must have been people accidentally clicking the yes. Man-made radiation got nothing to do with sunshine. Or walking out in sunshine, or it's got nothing to do with it. It's ridiculous, because it's in your body. Your body doesn't know what it is. It attacks with white blood cells every second for the rest of your life. It's exploding in your body at 286,000 miles per second, wrecking your chromosomes, your DNA, and everything else, your organs, putting lesions into your organs and children and everything else, all the species. How can you compare that with sunshine? Despicable, eh? The public relation firms would show up here and actually click on that. The company added the leak of water containing tritium. Well, you can't quantify the assertion because there's nothing on site with tritium in it. There's no tritiated water on that site. Everything is radioactive, but it's full of all the other isotopes. You can't filter the water because you can't get near the filter again. Company added a leak of water containing... Again, this is absurd. Where is the independent people in there? Why is a company that could poison massive amount of communities downstream and in the surrounding areas, who has everything to gain or everything to lose by telling the truth? They hid it for 4 months already. The most irresponsible thing conceivable is to let them be the arbiters. And it's not tritium, by the way, it's tritium-3H, you lousy, lazy buggers. It's fully contained, but you can't contain it. It's winter. You didn't build an ice wall around it. If you don't build an ice wall around it, there's no bottom in it. Everything's on a grade to wash down into the Mississippi in the first place. It's malfeasance. Like hoodlums, delinquents, thugs, charlatans, corrupt, fraudulent, swindling, graphing nuclear industry. It can't be contained. You can't contain it on site. 10,000 45-gallon drums. Where is it? Where did it come from? What did you put it in? You didn't. Has not been detected beyond the facility or in local drinking water. How can it not be in the drinking water? It's 400 plus thousand gallons. And at one point they said 450,000 gallons. 1.8 million liters. Where are you going to... Like, you can't just hide that. It's not just going to stay there on site in the ground. It's already saturated with snow, right? And so it's going to be pushed out into the river because everything is frozen. So the cycle leak is hundreds of gallons, but now they're going to shut it down on Friday. Because it takes quite a while to shut these things down, right? Monticello residents surrounding the plant, located 38 miles northwest of Minneapolis and upstream of the Mississippi River, say they have concerns about what recurring leak presents and the delays in finding out about the initial spill. So, upstream, do you get what they just done there? What about the people downstream, where everything runs? And why use the word upstream? I think the general public needs to be informed about this. Megan Sanborn, 31, who lives 6 miles upstream. Lucky her. There's still like 6 times more breast cancer within 15 miles of these disease factories. My children go to school 2 miles downstream from the disease factory itself. If the water level was safe the entire time, like they're saying, then where was the transparency? Well, bravo. That's actual journalism, folks. Wow. Wow. Don't see that very often. My goodness, that shocked me. I'll sleep like a baby tonight for sure. Xcel Energy noted we got a blizzard going on as I'm speaking, by the way. An actual blizzard, eh? I'll be able to plow all day tomorrow, I guess. Trying to get the driveway back open. Xcel Energy notified the Federal Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Oh, that's nice of them. Like they're going to do something. They sent in Valerie. They like you a lot. They're like, ship in Valerie. Tell them it's like sunshine. Valerie's like, I'm all over it, guys. I got this. I'm going to go down and they'll never ask about nuclear again. I'll have them so confused. The origins of the leak, 4,000 gallons a day, was found a month later from a broken pipe between 2 buildings. This is the latest version. A broken pipe between 2 buildings, but you don't got to shut down a power plant if you got a broken pipe. You bypass it, then you dig everything up, fix it, and then you literally seamlessly switch back into the new system. They do it in communities, every community on the planet. Now, if it's a high-pressure system, between 2 buildings, what are you talking about? What could it possibly be? I've never heard this before. I've never heard that framing before. Between 2 buildings. Yeah, but what the hell could that be? That would lose 1.8 million liters. And that they got to shut the plant down to fix it. well, two buildings would be the cooling system, right, and the reactor core. And that a temporary solution was devised to contain the water and rerouted back to the plant for reuse. A temporary solution was devised to contain the water, rerouted back to the plant for reuse. Well, what were they using this water for? Why is it so mysterious? The only thing I can figure out, this has to be from the reactor core. A high pressure feed we're talking about. Particularly when you talk about the volume you're talking about and the secrecy. And they rolled out the Valeries who come in and tell you it's like walking in the sunshine or like your exit signs, which is, I think I've only heard that once in the last decade. Somebody actually used that excuse. It's not a clever excuse. It's a desperate excuse. It's a belligerent. It's not even an excuse. It's a belligerent. It's contempt when they tell you something like that. That's actual contempt for you. Tell them it's like walking in the sunshine. That's contempt, eh? Somebody says something like that to me, and I'm, during nuclear whatever, I'll haul them like the Canadian does, where you pull the sweater over the head and start feeding them uppercuts. Your Honor, I thought we were at the hockey game. I had a flashback. But it wasn't until March 16 when state officials told the public and Xcel Energy announced they're taking steps to contain and manage the leak over the past 4 months. Why did you wait 4 months to tell people? It's 3,750 gallons a day. Minnesota nuclear power plant shut down Friday to repair the leak of the water containing radioactive compounds. So they're not screeching. The last number of medias we've seen, even over the last couple of days, rarely mention tritium. They call it radioactive compounds, radioactive chemicals and stuff like that. And it's very unusual to hear them frame it that way on top of that. Pains of conscience? I don't know. It's a pretty evil thing to do, to come out and lie to people and jeopardize their health like this in such a mass. And everybody downstream must be getting incredibly radioactive. And that's why they brought in the Valerie Myers, the degenerate Valerie Myers, the scum of the scum from the NRC. That's why they sent her in. Let's send in the hit squad, Valerie, and the rest of them. She'll take care of any troublemakers. Roughly 4 months after nuclear power plant in Minnesota experienced a water leak containing radioactive compounds. This is obviously from the reactor core. Said it will shut down the facility beginning Friday to conduct repairs immediately. Yesterday they were talking about shutting it down, and you'll see those headlines on Sunday. Yesterday we were talking about shutting it down in a month's time. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like 400,000 plus gallons qualifies as shutting down. And so now all of a sudden they jumped the shark, and they're going to close it on Friday. And the president of Xcel came out and announced it himself. He was in his pajamas apparently, but he announced it. Monitoring equipment determined earlier in the week a small amount of leak in water. Well, now, how did you find a couple of 100 gallons in the middle of 400,000 gallons? How does that actually work? The monitoring equipment. That doesn't make any sense either. The only way you would have identified that was visually. It might have been with binoculars, but because they're too afraid to get any closer to it. Which comes a few months after 400,000 gallons were released in initial leak. That's not a leak. Try drinking 400,000 gallons and tell me that's a leak. And the leak continued to pose no risk to the public, the environment. Of course, there is no such thing as safe radiation. Everything is very harmful. And at these nuclear plants, everything is very, very harmful. This leak, the so-called leak, can only become the reason, because they're only going to shut this down, is because it's a high pressure leak, which means it's coming from the reactor core. It's reactor core water is what we're talking about. So this is saturated. And it's demons, eh? Malfeasians. My goodness. Corrupt. Dodgy. Rascals, eh? We got a poll. Let's look at the poll. That always cheers me up. Is the radioactive water flown from Xcel nuclear generating disease factory, Monticello, Minnesota, like walking in sunshine or getting on an airplane or climbing a mountain or getting out in a kayak for 15 minutes or driving to New York? Or like, the industry is actually batshit crazy, because that's some of the excuses they use regularly. Like bananas, potato chips, walking in sunshine. I really disrespect anybody that does that after all these years of me beating the shit out of everybody that does it. I'm insulted that the NRC would send somebody out would say something like that. I thought we were friends, right? You're the bad guy, I'm the good guy. You know how it works, right? You guys were inbreeds and you can't help it. You're scum, right? But then the good patriots, the Canadian Sun people like me that are out there trying to save the planet from scum like you, and we have to wallow in your excrement all the time. You couldn't walk a mile in my socks. On Thursday, Xcel notified the State Pollution Control Agency, that was nice of them 4 months later, of a new water leak near the same spot. Oh, so like you get all these conflicting stories, because the story before was like, blah, blah, blah. There's another leak. Now it's in the same spot. Because you couldn't fix it. That's why you call it a continuing reoccurring leak. There's no reoccurring leak. There's something broken. You didn't fix it. It's reoccurring because it never stops. Reoccurring is a polite way of saying we never fixed jack shit. State agencies no evidence to point to indicate a current or imminent risk to the public. How can it not be? There is no safe levels of radiation. Even the degenerate International Atomic Energy Agency admits to that. Their standards are actually based on natural stuff, not man-made stuff. By the way, it's not illegal to poison you with radiation. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to murder you in the hospitals with it. But the Congress and parliaments for like Canada, Congress for America, they don't have the authorities to make it illegal to poison somebody with anthropogenic man-made radiation. Only the non-regulatory agencies can do that. And Valerie Myers is never going to be doing it. That's for sure. People like her. Let's keep her going. We're almost through it. We weren't supposed to do a show tonight, so. And we got nobody on the show. I'm censored. The censorship on me is over the top, isn't it? 19 people on the show. Well, because we nailed the story, right? We got it. That's why we're doing the show tonight. We figured it out. And we want to come out and warn the people that are lucky enough to find this, that, hey, you have an event going on in your community, and if you're downstream of this, you're in real trouble. This is an event. And they're going to bury it, and you too, and your loved ones and your children. Should an imminent risk arise, we'll inform the victims 4 months after. We swear. The plant shutdown comes 3 months after Xcel Energy submitted an application to the United States regulatory, which is Valerie Myers, to renew its operating license for Monticello facility. And right below that, Valerie Myers, a senior health physicist with the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the same one we put an application in 3 months ago, which is a lot of work, right, for the regulatory agencies. So they make a lot of bonus money and overtime money on doing these reviews, right? They're going to rubber stamp it anyway. There's zero possibility they're going to say no. And they didn't want to tell you because you put that application in there, and they didn't want to have the controversies of you looking at them. And they decided to sacrifice you so they can have pensions and bonuses and performance bonuses and pensions and stuff like that. Extra 20 years where their children now can go to work there and poison all of you too. everybody downstream. Just a revolting industry, everything about nuclear. It never ceases to amaze me, the contempt. The absurd contempt. So the Minnesota Disease Factory is going to shut down Friday. How come they don't come out and identify it? Why did they give you Valerie Myers, who hates your guts, and mocked you and ridiculed you and told you it was like walking in sunshine? From a man, not tell you where it's from. Just come out and say, like, stop asking. It's like walking in sunshine. Like the sign over the door that you're going to get out of, right? Get out. That's what they're like. Vicious contempt. She should never be allowed back in that city again, that community, that nuclear power plant. What she done is unforgivable. It's the opposite of what they're supposed to do. It's criminal, but it's not. It's not illegal to lie to you either. Not illegal to poison you with radiation, not illegal to lie to you. They got their asses covered. That don't mean you shouldn't do what for. Don't be a victim. Stop being a victim. Well, Dana, our pensions depend on it. You're going to need it for your health care for the rest of your life. Use your brains. There's nothing to gain by coming out and lying to you. And I'm here because I'm worried about you, by the way. Because I care about you. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that, I know. I'm a little bitter. I get that too. You would be too if you done my job. And you see this kind of despicable excrement all the time. That's why they call it nuclearproctologist.org. Do you get the pun? Do you get the joke of why I called it that? Oh, we got James calling in. Bonus. Hang on, James. I got some counterweights for my microphone today. Because when I lay the phone on, I got a tendency to tip my microphone. Hello?
Right. Mr. Dana. Mr. James.
That's hilarious.
I can't believe I mean, this is the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
This is the Mississippi. I mean, this is just...
That's big
so
time.
enormous. It hits the lifeblood of
Yeah.
the country so hard.
Yeah, it's something that they use to celebrate all the time too, right? All these communities celebrate that. Yeah.
I mean, there's endless videos of YouTube of people fishing out of it. You know, getting catfish. You know, and
Tom
cooking
Sawyer's
it,
Huckleberry Finn is iconic, right? Yeah.
Right, and you know, you're not going to be able to convince anybody. Like, hey, Xcel had a leak, a pipe burst, and they say it's 400,000 gallons, but really, come on,
Yeah.
how do they measure that?
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's just that fact that Price Anderson, you know. Thank God there's Price-Anderson Act that can protect these people and their livelihoods, their retirement.
They're counting on it.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, I've been on a waiting list to try to Google AI, what they call BARD, B-A-R-D, right? So it's the competitor of the ChatGPT, which is the open AI, which is based off Google tech, but that's a whole other thing. But anyway, I'm trying this out the first time, and that first thing I'm telling it is like, you know, how is the nuclear industry green when it needs a coal plant to operate it? And it's like, oh, that's a good point. You know, and it's like
you're going to break the machine when you say stuff like that to it. You'll break it.
Instead of just going with that, I'm like, well, you know, how is the Price-Anderson Act, you know, it's protecting the nuclear industry to get away with all this stuff, nothing happens to them, and we don't need it. We don't need this. Why is this going on? And it's like, again, it's like, you raise an excellent point. You know? there's a lot of fraud that goes on that
terrifying.
but it's still like, you know, and it's just
There is no counter argument.
how is it's like, how is it possible that this goes on to the average person that doesn't watch your show? I mean, there's like, what, 20 people watching that all that. and I feel real grateful that you came on tonight, because I tell you, like, some people watch Netflix. I watch Dana, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, thank you very much. No, it's real. We keep it pretty honest, right? But I mean, it's down to earth, you know. It's from the bottom of my heart that I'm doing the video. I'm 100% worried about the children, the elderly in particular, and everybody else. But particularly the children and the elderly, because they're so vulnerable to this stuff. And it's the way it manifests is, you know, there's 1,800 diseases, for goodness sakes. And then the loved ones are going to end up liquidating their assets trying to keep their loved ones alive because they got poisoned by people like Valerie Myers and Montebello and Xcel.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, James.
No, don't just say, oh, yeah, cancer's normal, it's genetic. You know, we can't really prove it's from anything connected with the environment. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Just lie and lie and lie and go on and on and on like that. People just put up with it. But
They don't hear another narrative, right?
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, they get they have the, and that's the other thing. They're like, you know, I asked them, like, why is there so many public relations jobs for the nuclear industry? Why do they have so many people that are basically marketing this? You know, it's like, yeah, that's true. You know, so, you know.
Oh, it's
I don't
crazy.
know, like,
it's crazy.
Go
Go ahead.
Twilight Zone at this point.
I got to try, right? You know as well as I do, right? You're obviously have the same pains of conscience, you know, where you got to try, you know, and best thing to do is never give up that, never lose that ability to try, you know. That's and trying is a win.
Right.
Yeah, I guess try is not the right word.
I mean,
But
you and Kevin opened my eyes completely to. I don't know what I would do without you guys.
well, I appreciate it.
But
Yeah. Well, it's not.
But the one thing that sticks in my mind that's so surreal, Dana, the time you went out in the ocean and there was this dead bird floating, and you went up to it
It's
and you
5.
picked it up, and it had tumors all over its head.
Yeah, half
it was like,
half the head was perfect, and the other side of it was all tumors. It was like, whoa, what am I? And that was the first bird of the day. It's just like it still blows me away, eh? Yeah.
But just thinking in terms of nothing happened, and a bird flies out of the sky and it dies and it lands in the ocean. How long would that bird be floating there, just before nothing came and got it? Like,
Right, not very long usually, right? It shouldn't be there too long before something finds it.
not too long. But this thing, it's like nature knows, like, oh, don't eat that. Or if there is anything alive.
Well, those dead dolphins last weekend, nothing was eating them. They had no peck marks on them.
Right.
Their eyes were intact. Their tongues were intact. And they were available. They were very vulnerable. They were right there. It was easy. There was lots of gulls, like not lots, but the gulls down here don't eat sea urchins and mussels at low tide. You can find them over at McDonald's in the parking lot, but you won't find them at low tide line because there's nothing left there because of Fukushima. It's a true story.
That's what the universities need to be studying. They need to be going out and figuring out this whole thing. I mean, come on. Well, they know.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, Dana, let me let you go. Thank you so much. I'm going to send a PayPal and everything, but I really love the fact that you did a show tonight. Really,
You're too kind,
really made
James.
my night.
I'm glad you called. I just love the points, eh? People need to hear it from somebody else, eh? They really do, right? And I put my number there every night. It's right there on the screen, and I even read it like a schmuck. And so thank goodness you called in.
Something's going to break through eventually. Yeah.
Well, the worst case scenario is I'm just going to get better every day at doing it, right?
Right.
At understanding it and telling it. So it's always a win. And
it has to win. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's got to work. But anyway, love you,
Okay,
Dana. Thank
love you,
so
man.
much.
Thank you. Appreciate it,
Thank
James.
you.
Great hearing
Bye-bye.
from you. Okay. Awesome. That's great. I just love stuff like that. I mean, like, how hard was that, right? To be honest. So easy to do it, and it resonates so good too, right? The honesty. How can anybody that's listening to that deny the honesty, see? The simplicity of a statement that is steering it's the 900,000 pound gorilla on everybody's and every species back right now is this 80 years of emissions, and like the inbreeding produced people like Valerie Myers, and she was sent down by the regulatory agency to fuck over everybody at the Monticello nuclear power plant communities and downriver from it. That's her job, is to screw you over, get sick and die so she can get a paycheck. That's her job. That's what she does for a paycheck. It's going to screw over every human, every male, every adult, everybody. It's to screw you over. That's her job, is to screw you good. And get up on the media and keep saying it over and over and over. And I disrespect people like that. And so that's why I'm here. Because that's too much. Right? That's just too much. Okay, well, that was great. Well, caller quits. You made it this far. Good on you. Give us a thumbs up. Don't be shy. Appreciate everybody worldwide. We're on YouTube. Not much I can do about it. It's the only one that streams perfect on everybody's devices worldwide. Have a great night. A great day tomorrow. We'll see everybody on Sunday unless they have an earthquake in Japan. We're expecting an earthquake in Japan, and a bad one. Usually every year at this time there's at least a $5 billion earthquake worth of damage around Fukushima Prefecture. Not the reactors, but everything around it. Thousands of schools will get cracked wide open, but not the actual fragile nuclear reactors. No, sirree, Bob. They're always perfect. In the nuclear industry's propaganda. Have a great night. We're going to close the poll down. One last boo at that. Is radioactive water flown from Xcel's nuclear generating plant, Monticello, Minnesota, like sunshine, like walking in sunshine? And the right answer, of course, is no. It's absurd to suggest that man-made dirty bombs are like walking in sunshine. It's absurd. And Valerie Myers should be ashamed of herself for existing. Have a great night. Hugs for everybody. Extra thanks for James for calling in. That actually cheered me up. See you on Sunday. Have a great night. A great day tomorrow. I'll snap some pictures and I'll post them out on my community section on my front of my YouTube channel. Tonight or tomorrow. We'll get some good pictures and we'll post them for you. We got a blizzard all night and all day tomorrow, so it should be interesting. Take care, folks. We'll see everybody soon enough. Yeah, good night, everybody. We'll see everybody.